Zara is here to be started, but before we put a saddle on her and work on actually saddle starting her, there's some ground things that need to be accomplished first that's going to make everything going under saddle go a whole lot better. If you saw the first video of her, I was working with her feet and she doesn't pick up her back feet. When I go to try to pick up her back feet, she would kick at me. And when you watched her ears in that video and just watched her overall demeanor, it wasn't so much that she was afraid to pick up her back feet. You could see in her face that she really just didn't want to pick up her back feet. So what we're doing here in this video, this was actually recorded the next day after I worked with her feet, I believe. And we're working on her desire to want to do what is asked of her. This is Raven here working with her. She does a really great job of this kind of groundwork. So what we want to do here is we want her to walk over the tarp because we asked her to walk over the tarp. Basically work on just her desire to do what is asked of her. And watch how Raven approaches this. She basically just going to show her and wait. To begin with, we're going to just ask her to follow Raven across the tarp. And you see there, she's not really putting a whole lot of pressure on her. She's not forcing her. We're not taking a whip and saying, you're going to go. She's giving her a chance to check it out. And now say, hey, let's go for a walk. Take a step. And if she stops, she's just giving her a chance to look at it again. Now, there's a balance here that you really need to be aware of. You can't just let them stand there, act like they're looking, and accept no. There she walked across the tarp. But you also can't force them too quick either. This is where Raven does an excellent job of realizing when to put a little more pressure on and when to let them stand there and look. See, Zara tries to walk around the tarp and ignore it, and Raven just puts her in a position to go across. And see how that was really easy just getting her to accomplish that. And this kind of horse, this is what I call a no horse. This horse's first reaction to something that she doesn't want to do is always no. I'm actually standing at the gate there watching her work, Zara, and we were talking right there. There was her no, and there was her go. What this is going to do mentally for Zara is get her in a better mindset to be better accepting of anything that we ask her to do. Whether that's the feet, putting a saddle on, driving, everything that's going to be asked of her in the future. This helps to develop the yes. It helps to change the no into a yes. Now Raven's petting on her, giving her a little bit of reward for doing what's asked of her. That is the reward. And you notice Raven's not just sitting there and just dwelling on the tarp. Right thing easy, wrong thing hard. Now she's just basically giving her the reward. She went over the tarp, let's just go for a walk. And this is what develops that connection. Everybody wants to have a connection with your horse. This is what develops that connection there. See what happened, Raven took her for a walk, developed the connection, and came back, and Zara just followed her across the tarp just because she asked her to go across. Really good work here. Raven makes that look really easy. So now Raven is changing the no into yes, developed a little bit of connection. Now she's going to move on to something a little bit different. She's going to work on a little bit of desensitizing here while still building that connection. You don't build a connection with a horse by feeding it treats. You build a connection by asking it to do something and then rewarding it, petting on it here in this situation, petting on it, rubbing it, scratching it for doing the right thing. A little bit of rubbing on her. In this situation, Raven's not really asking her to pick up her feet, but what she is doing is making us rubbing on her a nice thing. And you saw her kind of lean on her a little bit. Just all preparation for what's coming. This horse hasn't been handled a whole lot, and this is some preparatory handling that just needs to be done because she hasn't been handled a lot. And when she was handled, she was a little bit spoiled. So this is a mixture of, I'm going to ask you to do something. We're gonna put a little bit of pressure on, but it's not going to be bad. You're going to be okay. You're going to survive. Oh, see her walk around that tarp again? There we go. Now she's going to change things up here a little bit. A little bit of work with the lunge whip, but she's not going to ask her to lunge too much. She's just going to sack her out with the lunge whip. This actually went really good here. As she's doing this with the whip, that whip's going to touch her around her back, around her legs, around her belly, just kind of getting her used to things touching her. Stand still while we're doing this. Pet and reward. And a pet and reward. Just apply pressure, pet and reward. That actually went really good. And you see, as we're working, Raven is just kind of building the intensity. Wait and see what she picks up next. Look, back to the whip again. She's got something else she's going to pick up in a minute. All this that you're watching, this whole session is uncut. This is the session as it went from start to finish. You're going to see everything that Zara did, everything that Raven did. And there's the pet and reward. And walk away. And walk back to the tarp. Now, she didn't walk around the tarp that time. You see how this is building? How that is changing from no to yes? Zara didn't even really try to walk around it that time. Now back over there, release the pressure, pet on her a second. Now, you don't see us work a whole lot with a flag. And reason being is, like I talked with Maverick, we don't want them to over desensitized. Maverick was worked to the point where he was over flexed before we got in the saddle. Now, we don't want them over desensitized before we get in the saddle. But this horse here needs a little bit of desensitization. There's a certain level there that you need to accomplish with the horse as the stages of the horse progress. Since we have been riding Maverick, we've actually started carrying a flag with him. And he's okay with the flag, but we still don't have a whole lot of steering because of him being over flexed before his first ride. In this situation, we need Zara a little bit more desensitized, a little bit more willing to say yes before we start going to the saddle. It's a balance there that you have to accomplish. I know I saw several comments on Maverick's video. How can there be too much groundwork? That too much groundwork is not possible. And it's not so much that too much groundwork is bad, but too much groundwork at the wrong time in the right order is what's bad. Certain things have to be accomplished in a certain order at a certain time, so that one thing does not make another thing harder to accomplish. Rubbing her chest, rubbing it down her legs. She'll let it touch her back legs here in a minute, and her hip. This is all for developing yes. All to develop yes, and that actually went really good. And all this with no lunging, no getting Zara hot, no building up her adrenaline or anything like that. It's all a matter of just add the right amount of pressure and a reward so that she wants to do the right thing. That's what we're after here. Remember, in the very beginning, what we're after is changing the no to a yes. And we want to change that no to a yes in her mind without putting unnecessary pressure on her body. You're getting a little bit more aggressive there with ruffling it. Oh, look at her with the back leg. See how quick she went down the back leg and back up. Add that little bit of pressure, take it away. In the process of doing this is actually going to fix her picking her feet up problem. And it's going to put her in a situation where she's more willing to say yes with everything else. I know you've seen a lot of clinicians do a lot of groundwork and a lot of sacking out with the bag and stuff like this. But it's not just a matter of sacking out and teaching a horse to stand still with the scary object. There's a whole lot more to it than that. Getting them to stand still to the scary object, that's the easy part. This right here, we're using the scary object to convert her mind into a more willing mind. There she got getting more aggressive with the bag. And walk away. Really nice work here. And I'm probably going to get some questions in the comments. What if the horse moves? What if the horse runs away? What if the horse is more scared of the bag? The thing about all that is you add the amount of pressure that the horse can handle. If you've gotten to the point to where the horse is already running away from the bag, or the horse is scared, you've put too much pressure on too quick, and you just have to back that down. Done right, you should never have to really lunge the horse around. A lot of times the horse will move his feet. That's okay. Moving his feet and kind of looking at the bag, that's pretty normal. But snorting and running off to the other end of the arena, that means that you have a hole somewhere that you need to fix. Now she's getting pretty aggressive with it there. What's going to happen here after this, we start saddling her up, start putting the saddle on her back, start carrying the bridle also. And what's going to happen in all this is just converting her mind from the no to a yes. And that's really what we're after here. People confuse the sacking out as stand still for the scary object, stand still for this. And that's when you get into trouble with once you get on their back, they don't want to move, because everything that you've done so far in training is teaching stand still. Well, we're not really teaching stand still. You see here for the reward, we're walking when we reward. What we're after here is teaching yes, not stand still. And that's going to make a big difference. It seems so small, but it's going to make a big difference as this horse progresses under saddle. I got an email the other day asking, they started their horse and can't get the horse to walk forward. And there's several things that's going on there. I would imagine, I don't know what they did, I would imagine they did a lot of work teaching stand still, especially when the horse got worried, so the horse is standing still. That's the most common thing. You want to teach the horse to be accepting of things, but it's not just stand still, it's yes. Now, the next step after this with Zara is to start putting the saddle and the bridle on her, ground driving. You'll see videos of all that coming up. And then we start getting ropes around her legs. That helps to fix the leg problem. And that's going to develop our cues, develop our go, and continue to develop yes in Zorro. So I'll have a link up here in the corner to her playlist on YouTube, and we'll show you videos of her progressing and training. Until next time, thank you for watching.